Okay, welcome back. Last time we changed the battery in this fossil watch. That was a screw down case, so we needed the case wrench to achieve that. But today we're going to be looking at pressure fit type watches, and we'll use the EZTool kit as well as the quick fixer kit. Both of them are suitably equipped for this type of job. So let's have a look at this one with the leather strap first. And the first thing we need to do is identify where the notch on the case is. You'll always, or usually, find that there is a little notch just where you'll be able to get a purchase and a grip on the case. So with this one, I use the orange quick fixer tool. This has got a surprisingly sharp blade, so just do be careful with that. Often good to wear a glove of some variety when you're working towards your hands, just to avoid slippage and injury. But I'm fairly confident this one shouldn't fight back too much, so let's get started. So we can see the notch just there, a little bit of an awkward place right next to the lug, but either way, this nice sharp tool will get under there and prise that up quite easily. There we go. A little bit tricky working at arm's length. I'd usually bring that closer to me, but I don't think you'd be able to see if I did that. But straight away we can get that case off, and immediately we've got access to everything we need. The battery there, the stem, should we need to change that. And we can also check the gasket around the edge of the case as well at this time. So as with most of these, it's a simple job of putting it back on. It's just a case of locating it back down and pressing firmly. And one thing you do want to just be aware of is that many of the actual cases have a little notch, in them, in the flange that descends down inside the watch to hold the case on, and that's to allow the stem to pass through to the mechanism. Okay, you don't want the case actually crushing and damaging the stem. So we'll make sure we pop that in position and close it like so. And as I mentioned, usually just thumb pressure is enough to shut that good and firm. So these pressure fit watches, they're not particularly designed to be waterproof. Many of them, like this one, will claim to be water resistant, but typically all that means is if you splash it, if you're washing up, you just need to dry it off quickly and it should be all right. And even with the ones that do say that they're a bit more waterproof, why tempt fate? I always try and keep my watches fairly dry. So let's have a look at another one. We'll look at this one here. And as you can see, the bracelet is still on. I probably could do the job with the bracelet on, but just by way of demonstration, we'll take that off. So first thing to do is to find a spring bar removal tool. In fact, what I'll do with this one is I'll take out one of the links. It's usually a bit easier. So we'll find a link and gently press down into that hole. Okay, and we can see that that pin is already starting to come out. So I'll use the watch strap holder at this point. That way I can have my hands free to do what's needed. And I'm going to use the pin punch and hammer. So now that we've already made a start on that, we can drop that down into the hole and push that through. Now, particularly important when you're doing this to take note of the little arrows that you'll see on the back of watch straps. That tells you the direction in which the pin is meant to be removed. because the pins do have one end that is larger than the other, and that's to hold them in place so they don't slide out. Okay, so I'm going to put that pin in this little Tupperware box, and we know where it is, and we should be ready to go. So again, taking the case off, we're looking to find the notch. Because this has got a curved case and the case back is actually flat, it actually allows for a little gap to be created under there. So I know that this nice sharp tool would get under there very easily, but let's use the quick fixer, sorry, the EZTool tool, the blue one. So again, just a case of getting underneath. I'm going to hold it down against the table, and yeah, there we go, straight away that pops off. So again, we've got direct access to the battery there, and anything else that we need to do. Probably worth noticing just here, we can see that the gasket is getting a bit crumbly, a little bit dirty in there, so that's definitely ready for a replacement. Replacements are very easy to buy on Amazon. Best way to go about that is to buy a selection pack, then you know that you'll find something within that selection that fits your watch. Again, we can see there's a little notch just there. That's to allow the stem to pass from the crown through to the mechanism, and we always want to make sure that that's on the correct side. Okay. So this one's a bit firmer to put on, a bit harder. So what I'm going to do is show you a couple of methods for replacing that back. The first method is using a case press. If you want to spend another $15 to $20 on a case press, you can do. Bit of a bulky item to store, I feel, and typically I haven't really needed one to date. If I was brutal with this one, I could probably get it on. But with tougher watches, tougher cases, the best way to tackle that is to use a batten of wood, such as this. Okay, and we can use that to apply pressure in such a way as to pop that top back on. So what I typically do is cover the watch just in a layer of material, just to avoid any scratching and scuffing. And in this case, because there's a fairly high lug at each end, I want to make sure that the batten is pressing down firmly onto the case. So I'm going to use a chock, and this case off the knife is surprisingly tough, so we'll use that. So once that's in place, you can put the batten of wood over the case that you want to close, hold down on the far side, hold that down to the table, and then with your weight above the watch, bear down until you hear that click, which tells you that the case has snapped back on. All good. Okay, so that's another one. We'll close the strap later on. And one more. This Pulsar, I had this for 25 years now. Getting a bit worn, but still very accurate. And just because of the colours, particularly the navy blue, I enjoy wearing that. So again, we'll use the EZTool tool. As with all of these tools, it does take a little bit of skill and mechanical sympathy to get to know the tools and to be able to use them without causing yourself or the watch a mischief. But those are the skills that will come with regular use. So I can see the notch is here. Again, very, very slender, but that will be enough to get a grip under. And with this blue tool, the great thing is that it allows for a long lever technique like this, and also a short lever, a twisting motion. And depending on the particular watch case, you can use whichever method suits best. So being a little awkward, just coming up a fraction of a millimetre at a time, which is okay. Slow and steady. There we go. And again, got easy access to everything we need, including the battery. So we'll just make sure that battery is nicely in place. I've been aware for some time that this watch actually needs a new gasket. That's actually corroded or damaged. So needing to be ordering some gaskets for that. And again, we can see the notch here. That's to protect the crown, the stem that goes from the crown to the mechanism as we put that back on. And squeeze it shut. So that went with more of a click as well as a squelch. Good. So pretty easy, really. These are the tools that you need. Slightly different, both do the same thing, both have pros and cons in regards to the different watches that you might use.